Oh.
And it does. Hey, everybody. Caught me here drinking out of Grogu's severed head after Kylo Ren kills him right before episode 7 takes place. Spoiler alert! Sorry, I got excited there. No, as my friend Ryan Ray here was pointing out, this kind of looks like a bat, which is why I'm wearing one of my Star Wars blankets today, because I still have bats in my house.
It's gonna be great.
Since we last recorded, we found 2 bats inside, and they say where there's 1, there's 100. So where there's 2,
I'm not a math
simple
man.
math, right?
There's 100. Oh my gracious!
And we scheduled to have a bat guy come out, and he came and took a look. He's like, "Yep, you got a colony of bats living in the attic." Now the space I'm in right now used to be the attic, and it got converted into a bedroom because it was walk-in attic space. And so this is the easiest point of access for them. And in fact, the place where they were coming into the house, into the attic, is right there in that corner. And there's a vent that goes into the AC system right there. And the AC system is housed in the attic. So I have this blanket for protection. And yes, I know bat claws can go through blankets. Don't bore me with the facts. And, in fact, Ryan, though, I've been talking a lot. Don't you have a podcast about facts?
I have a show, yes, called Don't Let the Facts, which this might be a great prep for, because the Batman, you've called for him. He hasn't shown up and done anything. And I'm just hoping, listen, Kyle, I know you're my friend, one of my best friends in the world. Love you like a brother, but I make no bones about it. I would love nothing more than the colony to flock upon you. Dude.
Oh, my brother would say the same thing. So that is exactly like a brother. Now, so
that the screen goes dark because there's so many bats coming in the room.
My only request is as I run out of here screaming like my 7-year-old daughter, please cut the feed after making some sort of quippy joke. That's my only request.
I will cut the feed only after I think that you have been eaten by the bats. So if we hear the screaming continue, we're gonna sit here. I'm gonna commentate on this thing. I'm Team Bat tonight. I'm Team Bat.
I should post the video that I was making when I heard after having caught a bat in the house. And then one bat has gotten into, there's no secret, this is a messy room. There are several unpacked boxes. A bat has gotten into one of these boxes, and unfortunately has passed away, I believe.
R.I.P. Mr. Bat.
They can't get up. Once they get knocked down, they can't take off from the ground, right? So I think they crawled inside of a box and perspired. Right, is that the word? I think so. Expired, maybe expired. There we go. He didn't sweat. He died. And so then I was sitting here one night making a video about a comic book, and I heard bats, and this is how the video ended. It was like this.
I'm hoping the bats come out. We've had some folks come in and out of the podcast. Kyle has a colony of bats near his location inside his house. So we are hoping that this episode brings them out in their full glory, and he gets attacked, bitten, turns into some kind of superhero or villain. I'm good either way.
Man bat is the most likely scenario.
So, anyways, it's good to be back, man.
It's good to be back. It's good to be back because we had the bats, and then Texas froze over, which delayed them coming and taking care of the bats. And so they came and bat-proofed the house and left a way for bats to get out that they can't get back into. But it takes them up to 2 weeks to leave because apparently bats can go 2 weeks without water, like the little hellspawn they are. So there's actually some very beautiful bats out there. The giant golden flying foxes. This is not what we have. In Texas, everything's bigger except for the bats.
The bats.
Where they fit through holes smaller than Grogu's eyes. Those deep pools of blackness. Wow. How is he not a dark side character, right?
I think he is, but that's the story from that.
So also, my apologies, my audio is worse than normal because I didn't want to put headphones in out of fear of not being able to hear
Oh,
approaching flying mice.
please, bats. Please do me a favor. I need this.
These winged demon mice living in my attic. I want to be able to hear them.
You get attacked by bats on the show would make up for all of 2020. Like that would do it for me. To see you screaming and bats chasing you.
As my wife, myself, our 2 dogs, and our 2 kids all slept in our bedroom downstairs during the freeze last week, waiting for the power to go out. I could hear scratching and screeching around in the attic, and I was like, okay, yeah, they're not leaving. They're gonna. This is the warmest place for them to be. We're in this for the long haul. So there's that. This is actually a show about the Mandalorian.
Not bats.
Right? Not that.
Not bats.
Sorry for the confusion, Mamo. Thank you for tuning in. So for everyone just now tuning in, what are we? Half an hour into the show?
Yes.
It is about the Mandalorian. And unfortunately, it has been a minute since we recorded an episode. Last episode was chapter 4. Mm-hmm. Now we're chapter 5. We are recording this after season 2 came out. So, in all honesty, spoiler alert on everything and all things Star Wars and not that have happened thus far.
Life. Spoilers for life.
Spoilers for life. It's 2020 part 2.
And hey, just FYI, I was stunned this week that Cara Dune's character died. Didn't see that one coming in this episode. So.
Right. She died, and they decided not even to make action figures of her funeral.
Oh.
She's not even getting any new action figures out of the deal.
Mm.
The amount of Lucasfilm and Disney employees celebrating online about her getting fired is a little unnerving to me, just because there's no, I don't know, there's no loyalty in the ranks. And I get that people didn't like stuff that she said, and there could be a whole debate on a different podcast about whether or not she should have got fired for those things. Or it could be on this podcast. It just wasn't what I was planning on talking about. But it's weird to me. Like, I don't see when somebody else loses their job, other people at that same company celebrating openly on the internet.
Because you live in the normal world, Kyle.
I mean, it got bats in the attic. I don't know how normal it is.
I'm sorry, that was way too strong. Way too strong.
Yeah.
You live in the normal world.
My children and wife constantly remind me that I'm weird. But I guess I do live in suburban Texas, and that is relatively normal. Also, since the last time we talked, my 7-year-old daughter gave me a haircut.
Well,
which is why, it's very poofy on the sides and non-existent in the front. She just cut it all straight off. I've got more of my forehead showing than normal.
I've got a large forehead, so don't worry. I've got you there. So.
Master Caddy Almundi right here, right? Conehead guy. And there's a few bald spots on the back.
I can see that.
She did all with scissor work,
So let's talk Mandalorian, man. We ain't talked in a long time. So
I'm sorry.
No. Please.
I'm just having fun. My apologies.
Well, let's not stop having fun then.
No, we're gonna get down to business. Just joking. It'll still be fun. I miss you. And sorry, I wasn't talking to Ryan there. I was talking to the fan. I'm just joking. I do miss Ryan very much.
I came back with my glasses for this episode. Like, I broke them out. There's 4 sets of eyes in this podcast now. So
I'm risking life, limb, and rabies to be here. That's started COVID. I'm just saying. I'm risking a lot to be here.
Oh, this is why this show is my favorite time of the week. It's anyways. Okay, I'm sorry.
We start the episode, chapter 5, where Mando's getting shot in his ship, and we see he's not great at evasive action.
No, not really his strong suit.
No. This is more the guy who is used to shooting things or if he's being shot at, he's used to being able to take enough hits that he can just stand there taking hits until he shoots them more.
I have a lot of thoughts about taking hits in this podcast, this episode, just to be clear.
Let's do it.
Well, I mean, we haven't gotten there yet, but it's like
okay.
That is the theme of this whole episode is him taking shots.
Yes. And then we've got this other pilot stole Mando's line, which he didn't like, so he killed him. He was also
listen, I don't know the trademark rules in the Galaxy Far Far Away, but listen, it's death. So let me be clear, Mando, Yoda, whomever. I don't want to trade. If you got a trademark line, let me know. I don't want to infringe upon those rights. I didn't know it was so serious. So apologies. I thought the opening sequence was kind of weird. Like I didn't even like. Did you get the whole purpose of that?
I think I think there's two things. I think that they wanted to show like a space fight. Okay.
Check.
And I think that they wanted to show him killing somebody after somebody used his own line on him. Like I think they were like, oh, you know, it'd be really cool is if somebody said back to Mando one of the things that he says to people, and then they get murdered. And then they were like, okay, let's write a scene, and they did it. That's what I think happened.
That's the best explanation. I mean, because it seemed like okay. First off, when the whoever the guy was, when he hit his engine, parts of the engine flew off, and then 3 seconds later, he's like flick, 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 flick. Boom, the engine just fires back up. He's like, "Let's go. I need some fuel, by the way. Let's go to Mos Eisley." It's like, I mean, was this a detour to get him to Tatooine, or was he going to Tatooine already? Or I don't really remember, but I didn't really see the relevance of the opening scene other than someone stole his trademark line.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. Also, I'm going to apologize for the camera here. I need to turn my volume down a little bit. So, sorry if I jiggle it. Okay, how's that? I didn't go too crooked, did I?
No, fine.
Okay, cool. Usually I have the headphones in, and it's a different story. Okay. Yeah. He was not on his way to Tatooine. Also, I have a note here about last episode. The planet where the child was is Arvala 7. That's where the child was, Arvala 7. So has nothing to do with this episode. But he was just coming from the sanctuary planet where he ran into Miss Cara Dune, that dead woman walking.
Yes.
And that planet wasn't big enough for the two of them. As we saw, since let's see, it wasn't Snoodles, but somebody like him was trying to kill him there at the end, and so they decided, okay, we can't stay here. So he heads out to where we do not know, and it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense given the next episode after this one.
This is the problem with the Mandalorian fundamentally. Like this episode was fine. It wasn't a bad episode, but it's so you remember the show Family Matters? Have we talked about this?
I do know the show Family Matters. I don't think we've talked about Urkel's masterpiece.
Okay. You're too funny for me. I can't stay focused.
Right. It stars Steve Urkel and the guy from Die Hard.
Yes. The main character from Die Hard, just to be clear.
Yes. The real hero.
The real hero, yes. Okay, Family Matters, when you watch that show, that's a show you turn on each week to see what happens to Urkel, basically. And there's some reoccurring characters that come in from time to time. Obviously, you have your main set of characters, but it's really, you're trying to see the comedy that Urkel's going to get into and how they get themselves out of it. That's kind of what that's kind of what they want to do with The Mandalorian, but I just don't. I keep going back to this thing where they have this story that they're trying to weave, and then you interject these almost pointless stories. Like this whole story, there's kind of two things from this story, this episode. Okay, there's the first thing about him getting shot, and we'll talk about that some. And the other thing is to introduce Fennec and Boba Fett, which we don't know is Boba Fett until later on. But so really, that's all this episode is about. The bounty's irrelevant. The money turns out to be irrelevant. Everything seems to be really irrelevant except for, I mean, there's the father-son kind of dynamic kind of drawing. I mean, there's some other things that are there, but the main thrust of the story is just Tuesday, and
Yeah,
this is on Tuesday.
I don't read what a lot of other people say about this show in general. I try to keep my opinions unbiased and also out of envy because they're all smarter than me and more successful than me when it comes to reviewing these kinds of materials. They have a wider audience and they do a better job. So why would I listen to them? Is my main thinking.
It's genius.
Thank you. And so far, it's working. Okay, I'm good.
I'm getting excited. Let's get excited. What's beautiful is for podcast listeners when he stops and says "okay," and I'm saying I'm getting excited. That means Kyle has made a sudden turn over his left shoulder, and I'm hoping for the bat. Okay, that's what that means. So the audio
It,
will understand what's going on here.
it's kind of like Doug from Up, but instead of squirrel, it's bat or Oh my goodness!
That's so
Go through my head there. Um, but I did read one person who was talking about this and that it got to get screened in a theater. This episode, at least, got to get screened in some theater at some point. Well, which I did not know either, and they could be lying. I don't know. I did zero research. But they were talking about how this episode was the most pointless and also the most fan servicey. Um, and I thought, well, you're returning to a familiar location. Like whether you try to be fan service or not, unless they go to a different place on Tatooine, there's going to be some elements there. And sure, have some fan service. It's fun.
Just
But
because I don't mind going to Moss Eisley,
yeah,
because there's some fan service there, but Moss Eisley is not like the spot to. It's not like Mordor or something like that. It's just it's not like it's like going to the Jedi Temple on Coruscant, right? If you go to the Jedi Temple on Coruscant, there's certain things I need to see happen. You go to they go to the Cantina on Mos Eisley, like I don't need to see the characters from the previous Star Wars. I know where it's at. It kind of helps me geographically understand where the universe. It has
and it fits in with this character because it is a hive of scum and villainy.
exactly. So yeah. So on some level, fan service, sure, but I don't think every time they go to Tatooine, it's necessarily fan service. Nor do I have to have a connection to Luke Skywalker or anything else. And so you get the Sand People. You kind of know the characters that are on the planet, though. The Sand People, it's bad people, as you say. There was some Imperial overlords there for a while, or at least at one point, that were looking for. So, I didn't see too much fan service. Did you?
No, I mean he goes to the same cantina, right? There's more than one bar, I would assume, but he goes to the same cantina, and in the same booth where Han Solo was talking to Greedo, we see another guy who is possibly Corellian sitting there because he mentions Corellian. Han Solo's Corellian. And it's definitely a wannabe character, definitely the kind of guy that Han Solo would write off, right?
This was Han. Yeah, he's Han's. Okay, that's a great point. The cat that the young whippersnapper. He's Han. He is for every Han Solo. There is 100 of these dudes.
Yes. So nah.
No, yeah. There's a lot of non-solos out there.
That's right. Non-solo. I like that better. Non-solo. Yeah, which also non-solo because he had to have help for this. Man, Brian's a genius. Not that I'm just now realizing this. For everybody else listening, and this may be their first time. And we're now only halfway into the part of the episode not about bats and my personal troubles. So let's see. We got to see some pit droids. I guess people might call that fan service. Amy Sedaris as Pele Mato or Pele Mato. I thought that was fantastic. I thought she did a good job.
Why do you think he won the mission? I'm curious about that. So let's make sure we're set the table. So they have the space wreck, race, killing, murder, copyright infringement deal. He gets his engines to fire right back up. No big deal somehow.
Right, which is one of my biggest issues. Just but keep going.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like the whole scene is pointless. Then they go to Mos Eisley, go to Katina, and this young whippersnapper.
Well, okay, before we get to the young whippersnappers, okay, if I interject a couple things.
Okay, yeah, please do. It's your show.
Okay, so he goes. He's going. He leaves the docking bay, and the kid just walks out of the ship.
Yeah.
Like He's still not locking doors, Mando. Like, come on, man. I know you're a new dad and all, but lock the door. Then we do pass the salvage site, which has a special place in my heart because that was one of my favorite light side Star Wars CCG cards when I played the old Decipher Star Wars card game. There was a salvage site card that was fantastic. So that's why I like that one. Then he goes to the cantina and Wooher is not bartending. So like, what happened to him? I'm curious about this. Where's Wooher's miniseries?
There you go. This is why the fan service messes it up. Do you think he's the only bartender there? Do you want this cat working 24/7, 365? Can he not get a day off every now and then?
No, that's a good point. That's a good point. But who is tending bar?
Who?
A droid.
Oh, yeah.
A droid. And their kind aren't allowed in here because racism is only okay in Star Wars when it's against metal sentient beings. No, it's
shot across the bow, Kyle Souza.
Well, okay. The droids, everybody loves the droids, and they get treated like junk so often. And there's a whole what makes something a living thing is a whole nother question that Star Wars plays with a lot.
Yeah, we'll get this episode.
Yeah, sorry, I'll stop that. But I'm just saying, what happened? Like it's just changed so much. He can't be in the picture anymore if a droid is tending bar. That's my thought. Yeah. So I'm just wondering, now that Cara Dune is not getting a miniseries, does Wooher get a miniseries? I'd be open for it.
I did say just real quick, forgot on here. I was watching something that Rangers of the New Republic has reportedly been scrapped.
Oh, really? I figured they were just going to progress without her. Talk about other Rangers, powerful Rangers.
I don't know if that's true or not, but I did watch a thing right before we got on. They said that the show's being scrapped. So anyway,
this is why I don't watch other people.
Why would you? You might learn something.
Could be. All right. And then we see the frog lady. The frog lady's in the background of this episode. That becomes important later.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah. Well, I did a couple of those.
Just reminder.
Okay.
Those just now tuning in.
Okay. So that's
go.
That catches up to the important stuff you were saying. Now that I filled it in with all that drivel, my apologies.
No. Listen. People make millions of dollars a year on YouTube pointing out these types of things. This is what you should do for a living.
I mean, I'm not one of them, but yeah, people do. Other successful people do that.
Yes. Well, me either, but that's neither here nor there. So the young whippersnapper, why did he take the mission with the non-solo?
Why did he take man, what was that guy's name?
Yeah, whippersnapper. Non-solo. He is non-solo for this episode.
Yeah. Okay. Why did non-solo take the mission for Fennec? Or why did Mando help him out?
Mm-hmm.
I think he wanted the money.
He had money at the end, though.
Well, because he took it, he stole it.
When did he do that? I missed it.
Didn't he take it off of Fennec's body?
Okay.
I thought he stole the bag of credits from Fennec's body and then walked up.
Saw her and then walked away.
I'm sorry?
I thought he just walked up to Fennec, saw the body, and walked away. I might have missed that. I will pull this.
Yeah. No, I think because what happens to the kid?
The kid's died. He gets whacked.
Okay, maybe he takes off the kid's body.
Well, you don't see that either, though, do you?
I'm pretty sure we see him take the bag of credits from somebody's body. I just don't remember which body it is. This is why I don't make millions on YouTube. I also want to apologize to everybody. And there is also an audio-only version of this podcast out there somewhere at some point, maybe. And if you're tuning into that, please note that by YouTube, I mean iTunes.
All right, let's see here. So here's where the guy kills whatever his name is. He kills Fennec. Okay, here's Mandalorian. I know we can't show that because it won't work, but I will. Let's see here. So, anyways, so he pulls up. There's Fennec's dead body, and he looks around, and he's on the big hairy walrus, rhinoceros, whatever the thing is, and scene. Okay, so nothing
But
there.
the hairy walrus or hairy rhinoceros is a very different episode.
Whatever. He's riding something. All right. So then,
Oh, the dewback? Are you talking about the dewback?
yeah, the dewback.
Oh, okay.
All right. So he kills the guy. Let's see here, and he goes and looks at the body. He rolls him over. They're looking for the kid. This is a great podcast in case you're wondering, Kyle. This is how the pros do it right here. And
I know. I think I've made enough shots at you before about preparing before the show. It's evident I do zero preparation.
And here we go. If he takes it off of the cat, yep, there it is. There it is, right there. Then you're right. You're right.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, this is why you're the master.
Those are the words I like to hear. You're right.
I didn't realize that's what it was when he pulled it off of him. But yes, so he takes it off him. But the guy didn't have the money for the mission.
No, this is just a spoiled rich kid. He already had the money.
Yeah.
This was the Star Wars equivalent of, well, no, because Star Wars Resistance really gets into that. But I was gonna say this is like the kid from who's got a lot of daddy's money and he wants to go buy a Subaru and soup it up and join Dom's gang for Fast and the Furious. Yep. Switch sides there.
Now I can look at the camera a little bit more.
Okay, no, you're good.
So you're right. So he took the money off of the kid, but he gives it all to the maintenance worker lady.
I think he doesn't care about money, which is weird because that's why he does the bounty hunting, right?
Then why take the mission? You said it's for the money.
Because he cared about his ship. What he wanted was to get his ship fixed. He needed the money to get his ship fixed. So what he cared about was his ship.
Okay.
The money was just a means to an end.
I got you. Yeah. Now I'm tracking with you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Plus, the lady didn't do anything bad to the kid, so I think he was just like, "Here, have all the money. I'm going to be fine where I'm going next." Because I think he's planning on going back home, and he's going to be fine.
Okay. Well, we skipped. I'm sorry. I made this because of that. We skipped ahead. So he takes the. Yeah. You think he takes it for the money for the ship? So I think you're right about that. Yeah. And this is, on some level, what you kind of see here is probably the nonchalant side of the Mandalorian, right? So think about what's going on here. You have someone who's not qualified to go collect on this puck. They don't have the skill, the talent. He doesn't have the armors. It's seen later on. The Mandalorian's like, he has all of it, what it takes. He needs the money. I think you're right about that, to get ship fixed. And ultimately, he takes him out there, and he's fine with him dying or living or whatever, because the Mandalorian's going to get the puck and get the money at the end. It didn't play out that way against
the kid destroys the puck, which I have questions about also, but continue.
Well, what I'm saying is that from the Mandalorian's perspective, from a Din's perspective, the kid's irrelevant. So there's this puck, and if Mando cashes it in, then he gets the money. If the kid goes out there and gets his head shot, it doesn't matter.
But he can't cash in the puck. That would require going back to the guild, and he's going to be wanted by the guild.
That's true.
As Fennec points out. Plus, the kid smashes the puck, and he's like, I memorized everything on the puck. You memorized the beeping sound that tells you when you're getting close to the target?
These puck things, you just gotta just pretend.
Yeah.
They're more powerful than the Force, or less powerful, depending on what's going on.
They're the big mystery here. The Force is all midichlorians.
Well, yeah.
These pucks, though, very confusing.
Okay, so listen, if he has Fennec in his custody, he can have someone else take her and turn her in. He doesn't need the kid.
He could do that. I mean, it'd have to be somebody they trust enough to at least give him something, But you can always hold somebody hostage if they care about something. Yeah. He does a terrible job of keeping the child hidden, though, right? Because the non-Solo here sees the child. If I were Mando, I'd be keeping him on the ship. Don't let anybody see him. The fact that Pelly saw him was already too many people seeing him. Because that's what gets him in trouble at the end, because the kid turns on him because he's able to put 2 and 2 together and get 4 that, oh, Mando's my big target. Otherwise, he only would have had 2. Like, hey, they're after a Mandalorian. Is it worth risking to attack this Mandalorian if it's the wrong Mandalorian? But he knows it's the right Mandalorian because he had this guy with him. I'm holding up a Grogu mug for everybody listening in. You know, and he got to see him with him. I don't know. It's yeah.
Yeah. Well, okay. We're gonna
This episode now I overall I enjoy the show. I enjoyed this episode overall. It's an enjoyable episode. This episode was outside of Grogu, really what I expected the series to be about before it launched. I expected it to be a bounty of the week type episode, type series, where every week we would, without a whole lot of preface, just be dropped in. He's hunting such and such a person. He needs to go to place XYZ, and he's going to do cool things. And then he would turn him in, and he'd get paid. And then the next week, another person might he'd be after somebody else, and it might be the next day, it might be the next week. Who knows? The timeline doesn't matter because it's just the hunt of the week.
right.
So this is what I expected a lot of the series to be like. But now that they've introduced Grogu, this episode does have some holes in it.
So let's get to the major hole for me. I say
okay.
The
Tusken Raider sign language.
Yeah, that's more of like super fandom that's beyond my knowledge. Like I know you're more like I don't know. I don't have a strong opinion on that. But
Toro, that's the kid's name. Toro.
Non-solo, but whatever.
Non-solo.
We call it space.
Toro non-solo.
Yes. When Fennec shoots him with the whatever rifle he calls it now. First off, it's hilarious. He's like, well, it must be a so-and-so rifle. Like, it's a pretty big galaxy. I'm sure there's probably more than one rifle that can shoot that distance, but that's neither here nor there. He said at that range, it wouldn't go through the Beskar, which implies at a certain range that rifle would pierce his Beskar.
Yeah, point blank. Should have done some damage.
What's that?
Point blank, it should have done some damage.
Right. Well, if this thing can stop a lightsaber, is this rifle more powerful than a lightsaber?
Possibly.
Then the Jedi they're done. They're done. If some random bounty hunter has a weapon that has more power than the Jedi, yeah, sorry.
We'll find out on The Bad Batch streaming May 4th on Disney Plus.
They've announced the May 4th?
They have announced it's going to be my son's birthday.
It is. It better be. No pressure.
I've got a couple bills set aside for the nurse who fills out the forms if need be.
So I mean,
yeah, just announcing a small bit of fraud on the internet. How could this go wrong?
For the 3 listeners, they probably won't turn you in. They're pretty loyal.
Thank you. Look, if anything, take pity on me. There's bats.
But no, seriously, like when he said that, it's like, wait, I missed that. And like we know that the Beskar can fight off lightsabers and these man-eating droids that can punch through walls, but this rifle can pierce it at a certain distance. What do you think? I mean, is that a contradiction? Is that like, is the rifle really that powerful that I don't know about it, or what are your thoughts on that?
Can it pierce it, or could it just mess him up enough that like the Beskar wouldn't be able to distribute the brunt of the Force?
I don't know. That's why
or that it would heat him up enough to where he gets cooked inside his own armor. There's a couple options. It doesn't necessarily have to pierce the armor for it to screw him.
A little Mandalorian stew. I like that.
Yeah. What type of vessel would you drink that out of? For everyone watching along, again, I rose up the Grogu cup, or listening along. Sorry.
So I just didn't know if you actually knew the technical answer on that, or if that was just a potential plot hole, or just one of those things the characters say stuff and you gotta kind of ignore it because they're not speaking. The characters are just people. They're not actual dictators of the Star Wars universe. You always remember that. So
right. Plus, remember, this is Mando's at least second suit of armor, and his first one got messed up. And his first one is presumably not full Beskar. Like this one is pure Beskar. The first one appeared to be some sort of alloy because it got messed up by the mud horn.
The baby run.
And um, I think that maybe also he doesn't necessarily know the limits of the Beskar either because it's his first time having a pure Beskar armor.
Yeah, that could
And
be.
so he may be thinking about his old armor, like, at this range it should be fine, but
Yeah, that could be it. I mean, I'm considering any of those answers. I didn't know if he was saying factually or if he was just talking like a character.
yeah. Well, I'm glad I was able to satiate your appetite for knowledge there.
But he leaves the kid on top of the hill. He's like, "Hey, she's got a sniper rifle that hit me from like 6,000 yards. Poke your head up and stand watch occasionally." What could go wrong?
Right? Again, he doesn't care about the kid.
That's what I was
Right.
saying.
He doesn't care.
Like, yeah, the kid's like, yeah, whatever. I just found that hilarious. And the kid doesn't see the problem with any of it.
No, he's just happy to be, along for the ride.
Yeah. So I mean, we can move on. I found that to be the weird. I say plot hole. The biggest contradiction or concerning thing that was said, and the rest of the stuff is kind of whatever. But that you caught me off guard.
I think we can chalk that up to a lack of knowledge on Mando's part, and just him maybe kind of speaking off the cuff. Also, maybe he wanted to keep the kids scared. The actor who played Toro, I think, did a good job of playing a newbie.
Mm-hmm.
And I think maybe he wanted to keep Non Solo on his toes and be like, "Hey, I'm in this cool Beskar suit, and that thing could kill me. So I'm doing you a favor, kid. You better stay here and do what I say."
You take first watch, get your head blown off. I'm going to take a nap.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I would say maybe it was a little bit of an intimidation factor. Like, none of us are safe.
I'm fine with that answer. I can live there.
Do exactly what I say, and everything will work out fine.
I can live there.
I mean, he's not the government, but it's, other people say that. So
whatever. Yeah.
All right. The dewback. They do find a dewback, right? Dewbacks are one of those species. We've seen them on Tatooine before.
If I could sing, there's a little song there, but I can't sing. Dewback. Do. I mean, like there's something. There's some kind of little jingle there with the dewbacks, but whatever. I can't.
We'll have to think of it and turn that into a theme song.
I want my dewback. Sorry. It's bad joke.
Yes, I can't sing either. I'm. People pay me to stop singing. No, they don't. Otherwise, I'd do that for a living. We did see a dewback on Tatooine in the special edition of Episode 4, A New Hope. Right? They had a dewback there. And the thing is, we have these large animals on Tatooine, right? Dewbacks, Rontos, Banthas are all there because Sarlaccs and great dragons have large appetites, right? And there's also smaller creatures, womp rats and frogs and all sorts of stuff. But it is just interesting to see these big animals that are there. And my thought, the first thing when we saw the dewback, I was like, "Oh, is the dewback hurt? Oh, poor guy." Like, he's there, he's crying in the middle of the desert. Yeah, I have a note here. At that range, Beskar holds up, or at that range, Beskar held up. That's what that quote was. Okay. We get a little action sequence, and they get to Fennec, right? And of course, Mando wins in the fight. Why?
He's the star?
Because he has the high ground.
She had the high ground early on in the episode.
She did. She did have the high ground early.
Which this is clear, that was the worst high ground plot line ever because it's like she has the high ground, really? Like I can't tell. Like she's
really across pretty straight.
Yeah, look. Like how can you even see any where she's at? Came from that ridge over there. What ridge?
I think it was more the element of surprise why he won. I don't know. I just want to do a high ground reference myself.
No.
I mean, I can do one worse than the show. But see, this is why I think that one article is calling it fan service. See, I don't know. I only read the first 2 paragraphs. So
get the gist of it then.
Yeah, so she has the high ground, but she gets past. Here's another thought that I have. How long is it taking him to do these hyperspace jumps and to go from planet to planet? Because she knows about what went down on Navarro. And she's wanted by the guild, but she's hearing about what happened at guild headquarters in Navarro. So word either travels really fast, or she is well connected, or that was simply for the sake of moving the plot along to get non Solo there to turn on Mandalorian.
I actually think that's pretty easy to explain away. So, if you were a member of the Corleone crime family, just use a hypothetical mythological family here,
Okay.
and you're you're one of the guys who went out and whacked people for him from time to time, and you got on the outs, right? There would be people inside the crime family who would still communicate with you secretly, privately, wouldn't tell you things, everything, and they wouldn't want it to be public. They would say, like, listen, hey, listen, Bob's on the outs too. If you could bring Bob back in, maybe you could be on the good side. So I think when you think about crime syndicates, that it's there's a lot of mistrust inside of them and a lot of dual loyalties and things like that, especially when you go through the ranks. So that her knowing that information makes sense. Like, oh man, did you hear about this? Like people just want to gossip. So
There's that. Well, see, here's what I thought would have happened. I think Toro's not the first guy from the guild to come after her. And she caught the first one to come after her and tortured him. And he's like, no, the guild sent me after you. And then she killed him. And then
tied him
now
to
Toro, I'm sorry.
tied him to the dewback.
Yeah, tied him to the dewback. There you go. And let him go. So I don't think that this was the first people from the guild after her. I figured in my head, I was like, oh, that's where she found out, I guess.
Yeah, that's what. I don't think that's necessarily a
Yeah.
plot
I
hole.
do think that Ming Na Wen was a great pick for Fennec.
Mhm.
And also, Fennec is going to be in the Bad Batch. And I believe Ming Na Wen is going to be voicing her there also, which is very interesting that now somebody from live action is going to do the animated version of the character because it usually goes the other way,
Yeah,
namely Ahsoka Tano.
Bad Batch.
I'm sorry?
I'm
Oh,
excited.
you're excited. I'm excited.
I love the Clone Wars. So
Yeah. Oh, they're good. It's a good war. As far as wars go,
listen,
9 out of 10.
if you want to see,
Would have war again.
if you want to see millions of innocent lives or droid lives matter, destroyed for the sake of entertainment, that's your show because
Mhm.
they kill people at will. Like their
Yeah,
platoons just die left or the right.
they go.
Cartoon ones though, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, good. Oh, yeah, they're clones. And that's what clones are bred for.
Yeah, I need to write that article. Anyways,
You
let
do.
me just say this
You
real
could
quick.
write a whole book about it.
Well, you could. I couldn't. You could. Let me just say this. I, the action scene in the dark with all the cuts, like that doesn't do anything for me. Am I the only one like those action scenes? It's not just a Mandalorian thing, just in general, like
You're
swing.
talking about like the rate, the two speeders. That
No,
makes
when
sense, or
they go to get Finnick at the end, and Non Solo's fighting her, and
oh, the hand-to-hand combat.
yeah, like it's like punch, cut, punch, cut, punch, cut, swing, miss, punch, cut. Like it's just it's too choppy.
Yeah. Well, it's because if they zoomed out and showed the real fight, it'd be much less exciting. It would look like the fights did in Western movies that the show is based on. If you went back and watched, The Virginian, as a TV show, you watch one of those fight scenes, it's a lot less exciting, and so I think they're just trying to make them exciting because they have to for other movies. They have to make things exciting.
We need to fix this. I need real fighting. Let them go at it.
You know, no, I think they need more fighters as actors. That's the thing. These are actors, not fighters.
They fired the one fighter that they had.
And then they fired her.
But I mean, that would be, listen, think about this. Hear me out. You have two fighters that are actors, and you write the plot to this point, and then you let them fight. And then the winner determines where the plot goes. It's kind of like one of those turn upside down book deals, The writers don't even know. They're like, okay, depending on how this goes, this is how we're gonna write the story.
There you go. That would be fun. That would be really fun. I thought it'd be really cool if you did a way to introduce or like a future Marvel Cinematic Universe film would be Avengers versus X-Men, right? Which has comic book, comic book, not preference, precedence. There we go. Comic book precedents for an X-Men versus Avengers fight. And I thought it'd be really cool to have an AVX movie and an XVA movie where you got to see the same events, but one from the perspective of the Avengers and one from the perspective of X-Men. And then, it's just a little bit different versions of the same thing. It'd be really cool if you did like what you're talking about, where you have, all right, let's go ahead and shoot both endings as if this person won and this person won, and then we'll see what really happens in the fight, and we'll put that one in the episode, put the other one in the special edition that we're going to throw out on the Blu-ray when this thing wraps, and we put out a nice box set for it to cash in on this streaming, because they're all going to Blu-ray eventually.
When the fans are mad that you killed off this character, say, listen, they lost the fight. They lost. We gave this character a chance to cash checks for years on end. They lost the fight. Well, I mean, it's not my problem. They had the chance. All they had to do was knock that guy out, and they didn't do it. So, what do we say? The show writes itself, literally. And
that'd be fun.
The show fights itself. There it is.
The show fights itself.
The show fights itself. Trademark Ryan Ray, February 28th, 2021. Warrior Media. I will kill you like the Mandalorian if you take that.
Get Dana White on the phone, right? He's the UFC guy.
Yes.
I don't watch UFC, but I watch John Oliver, so I believe it's Dana White.
That's him. Yeah.
There we go. The show fights itself.
The show fights itself. It's lovely. I don't have anything else to say about this episode. I'm gonna let you take it from here.
Let's see. My only thought was dewbacks aren't very fast. He should not have gotten as far away as he did. So we got Beggar's Canyon. We see later where Mos Espa is in relation to all this. They weren't too far away. Also, I was using voice to text when I made this note, and I asked where they were in relation to Most Espa and Most Risky. They're supposed to be Mos Espa and Mos Eisley. My phone, not too good with place names.
Ooh, don't worry.
A little fun on the place names. Me and the kids play a little game when we're driving in the car called Bible, Lord of the Rings, or Star Wars. And I will name either a person, place, thing, or quote, and they have to tell me which one of those it's from.
You have a rare talent, sir.
Thank you. Witch of Endor, the Bible. So that's true story.
That's funny.
All right. Let's see. A caped figure. Oh, okay. So very end. We see this person, right? A caped figure. You can hear like spurs. They put in like spur sound effects, right? Mm-hmm. I felt like it was a Mandalorian. When I was watching it, I felt like it was a Mandalorian walking up on Fennec's body.
Pull it for you?
I'm sorry?
Me pull it for you?
Yeah.
Boba Fett. That's my guess. No. You never would have guessed it.
Never. I thought, here's how messed up I am. I was like, no, they want me to think it's Boba Fett, so it must not be Boba Fett. But then it was Boba Fett. And I thought maybe it was pre-Vizsla, the heavy armored Mandalorian. Like, I thought he was mad at Mando and jealous of him, and so he was tracking him down. That's what I was thinking. Like, okay, we're about to have some Vizsla on Din Djarin action coming up.
I've seen season 2. It's Boba. I can tell you.
It's Boba.
I don't know if you've seen season
Boba. You know the best thing about Boba, the strawberry ones when you put them in froyo. And so that's all I got for this episode, though. All in all, I thought it was a good episode. Fun episode.
Right. So if this, to your point, when you started this whole thing 49 minutes, 18 seconds ago, if this was what the show was, him going out, different characters, tracking them down, yeah, it'd be okay. Like this is kind of what you would expect. And I don't know. I don't think this would carry multiple seasons, just to be honest with you. I don't think that would.
It's like a reverse Walker Texas Ranger, not the new one, like the real one with Chuck Norris.
There's only one. Right? There's only one. Just to be clear.
There we go.
There's only one. So, watch your mouth.
Sorry, sir.
Thank you.
So you
Okay.
know, but Walker Texas Ranger, right, or NCIS or CSI, like they have a loose overarching thing, but mostly they care about that week only.
I agree.
And so I think we just get that. I think that same kind of thing could work, which apparently was what Lucas wanted for his first Star Wars TV show with Underworld, Star Wars Underworld, which is about the seedy underbelly of Coruscant, focused on a bounty hunter.
So Rocker Texas Ranger, I don't know how many seasons it was. I can look it up. It's comedic more than anything else, right? It's because it's so over the top funny just because of how preposterous it is. NCIS, you care about the characters because the stories are all the same. Wait,
Eight,
8 seasons.
eight seasons for Walker. I had to figure out how many fingers was eight.
Wow, 8 seasons of Walker. We have to do okay. We got to do a podcast on that show.
Wait, hold on. Wikipedia says eight, but this other page says 9.
Still, that's an insane amount. I thought like 3 or 4. I did not know it was that many.
Oh no. These were great memories that my dad, my brother, and me would sit down and we would watch Walker Texas Ranger every week together as a family, like God intended. Because and Chuck Norris would agree with that statement. You know he would.
Listen, you watch your mouth. Chuck's in the roundhouse.
Okay. Here's a little side story. I apologize. Tell me to shut up at any time.
9 seasons according to IMDb.
Okay, so 9 seasons on IMDb, 8 seasons on Wikipedia. One of them is lying. Probably the one edited by randos on the internet. So that'd be Wikipedia. I don't know how IMDb works. Sure. But I took my dad to Comic Palooza a couple years ago. I actually got a lot of family members to chip in, and we bought him the meet and greet package for Chuck Norris.
Wow.
And he got to meet him, shake his hand, take pictures. It was all pre-COVID and everything. So they got to act like natural human beings with each other, and got his autograph on a photo. So I'm a Chuck Norris fan. We went to his session and everything. I drank some Sea Force water last week. I didn't love it, but I bought it and I drank it.
Best Chuck Norris video out there. You seen those Hitler videos where like it's Hitler in the room with his generals and he's mad and people spoof it?
Oh yeah, the one from Valkyrie.
It's not Valkyrie, but yeah, it's one of those movies. And it's actually in German. It's not in English. He's like pounding on the table. Google Chuck Norris ends World War II. Thank you later. Because
I will do that.
You will watch it 4 or 5 times. Like it is so layered with comedy and richness that it's George Lucas cannot pale in comparison to what this guy did with this this video. Anyways, let's get back to Mandalorian because I know we'll do a whole 9 seasons of Walker Texas Ranger.
Okay, Walking Texas Ranger.
Walking.
The name of the podcast.
Hey. So the thing about NCIS or Family Matters or you mentioned one other, I can't remember which one it was. Walker Texas Ranger. I hadn't watched enough Walker Texas Ranger in a long time to know, but I can say NCIS or Family Matters is you cared about those characters. I don't think people really care about the Mandalorian. I don't think they would.
I think so. I think that even without Grogu, if you got to see Mando in every episode, now he would need somebody. He would need a sidekick, right? He would need a droid or something to go along with him.
You have to be a lot more personable, though. And that's the thing. Like his character, like if this character that we have today, you talk about Han Solo. Okay, that's someone you could attach yourself to. You talk about Obi-Wan Kenobi, or I'm trying to think of some other light side characters that maybe you could substitute in there, but he has no real personality. He's just, huh?
Wow. Drax the Destroyer.
But Drax has a team of people.
Right, that's what I'm saying. If you put somebody like that in a team setting, people like him. And so I'm just saying, if he had like a droid and somebody that maybe he chased down in one of the first 2 episodes and ended up being somebody that could help him that he ended up keeping on instead of turning in, who's the kid from Indiana Jones?
Buff?
No. The kid in the baseball uniform in the real Indiana Jones movies.
Yes, I know you're talking about. I don't know his name.
Yeah,
episode 3.
I'll have something. Yes. Indiana Jones, episode 3.
Return.
Han Solo comes back again.
Return of James Bond.
Yes. Sorry, I'm blanking on his name. But if he got a sidekick or two, I think it would have worked just fine even without Grogu. As far as just personality is concerned.
Yes, okay. If you're saying Mandalorian plus, well, see, I've said that before, and you're like, "Oh, Mandalorian and company." Da, da, da. It's like, okay, well, yes, okay, it would have to work.
I have no recollection of saying this. I hope you got it recorded.
So if it's Mandalorian and Co., then yes, you might have something because you could have you look like Gibbs on NCIS. I haven't watched it in a while. He's really like, what's fascinates me about Gibbs is if he was your boss, you would hate him, and yet people love him. Like he slaps people on the back of the head. Like just think about your boss walking into the office like, whop, slapping folks on the back of the head. Probably wouldn't go well. Probably
he gets sued.
Yes, and so Gibbs is lovable somehow. But anyways, so yeah, if it's Mandalorian and Co., then yeah, maybe you would have something, but they would have to be people who shouldn't be with him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like almost like people who aren't really part of his that aren't really equipped to do his stuff, like the necessary guy or something like that.
But then we would just have Star Wars copying Firefly, which was copying Star Wars, which was copying
Come on,
Flash Gordon, which was copying the Westerns, which was copying the Japanese movies.
We done?
Yeah, Short Round. That was the kid's name.
Yeah, there you go. So yeah, So if you're going to fundamentally change the show, Star Wars and Company, then Mandalorian Company, then yes, maybe so. But this iteration of the Mandalorian is a character who brings out very little emotion, I think, in the audience. Grogu is the emotional character, and what makes the Mandalorian real is his connection to Grogu, because he has no connection to anything else, basically.
Yeah.
So
sorry, I just had a bad thought. I'm sitting with my legs beneath like an open table. I just need to check another table real quick. Okay, no, I'm good. I didn't hear anything, but it's got one of those cross beams underneath of it, and I just thought, oh man, if I kick a bat, I am gonna see myself or something. It is gotta be bad.
Well, I think we're done. So you can go. You can go fight. You can leave the bat cave.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for listening. Thank you, Ryan, for talking with me. It's been very lonely. I've had no one to talk to for about a month.
It's lonely at the top. That's what they say. Lonely at the top.
Also lonely at the bottom, but nobody asks them. All right.
Hey,
and on that cheery note,
no. Kyle, because he won't say this, has been doing a wonderful breakdown of WandaVision. I get to watch all of them. I've watched probably half of the things, I think. I don't know how many shows there are. I've watched one episode of WandaVision. I watch more per episode, per capita type statistically, of your coverage of WandaVision than I have of the shows of WandaVision. So, folks, you need to go check that out. If you're watching WandaVision, go check out Kyle's stuff.
Oh, well, thank you. I actually got into a conversation with the guy about WandaVision at the craft store when I went to go pick up some supplies for my wife, because he noticed my wallet, which I don't have on me, but it's got a bunch of Marvel comic book covers on the wallet. He was like, "Is that a Marvel wallet?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Do you watch WandaVision?" I was like, "Yeah." And then we made 3 other people wait for 10 minutes while we talked. But he was the only employee there, so, what was I going to do? He had to check me out,
So, folks, go check out his WandaVision coverage. I've watched it. I know you just examined the most recent one I watched. Is someone the bad guy or not? I had no idea what you're talking about, but it sounded like you're on top of things. That was my takeaway.
That was regarding episode 7. Episode 8 is out now, and there will be another episode or 2.
Also, I love how you produce one like, I'm calling my shot here just in case this is right. Again, predictions that I have no idea what's going on. But you're like, if this character is this, I want it on the record today that I called it. Were you right or not?
Nope.
Okay.
So for those kind of along home, I've been wrong in almost every single thing I have said about WandaVision looking forward. Now, looking back, I've nailed it. Okay. Commenting about what actually happened, I have nailed. Predicting things for the future? No. I got 1 right out of 8. It's but 1 out of 8, that's pretty bad. That's pretty bad.
The key is don't keep up with the statistics. Just go with it.
Yeah, here's what I'm assuming. I'm assuming that nobody will watch more than one of my videos. No one will watch any more than one of my videos, and so I'm fine. They will have no idea as to how much I'm right or wrong about.
Well, but see, listen, you can make a follow up. Why I was wrong about. Boom.
Yeah, I could, man.
Mm-hmm.
See, this is why Ryan's the genius here.
Let's not get carried away.
Sit in scary rooms, talking to people.
So go check out, folks. Go check out Kyle's WandaVision coverage at the Talking Geek. Or is it Talking Geek on YouTube? How do you find that?
That's a great question. Yes, it is. It's the Talking Geek on YouTube. There's at least 2 other people also calling themselves the Talking Geek. They're liars. Okay, one of them is a group of people.
Wow.
Okay. The Talking Geek, singular.
Singular. Okay. And this isn't like Jedi. Let's be clear. We go either way. This is not Jedi. Geek or geek.
No. Geek or geeks. That's right. Make up your mind. We're at war. Clone Wars. Streaming now on Disney Plus. It's the Talking Geek that has a cartoon character head that looks something kind of like me. There you go. If it's got WandaVision coverage, you might be in the right place.
Before you would think it's him.
Yeah, there we go. And for everybody listening on iTunes, imagine what you think my face is like, and kind of like a potato with glasses and a bad haircut at this point. And that's me. See you on YouTube.
Okay, I just say this. The final thing is for we sign off. Bats, you've let me down. Bats across the world, bats in your house. The fact that a colony of bats did not attack you is the most disappointing thing that I've seen.
I'll see if I can make your night. I'm going to apologize for the noise that's about to happen to everybody.
Oh, don't get the bats out. Don't get the bats out.
Okay. They're not coming right now.
Oh, the bats. Come on, bats.
That's right. Here's the scariest thing. Walking into this room, there's a little cutout in the wall where there's all like the board games and puzzles and stuff. And I keep a lightsaber by the door to stick in there and wave around before I walk into the rest of the room, because if there's going to be bats hanging around in any place, I think it's going to be right there and they're going to attack as soon as I walk in.
Okay. So Kyle, when will we be back, assuming the bats do not eat you?
Next Sunday, March something.
6-ish?
I don't know what today's date is.
7th. Next Sunday, the 7th.
March 7th. We will be here discussing The Mandalorian Chapter 6. That's right. Well, look at Ryan showing off knowing how many fingers to put up for the number 6. Wait till we get to Chapter 8. I'll know what to do by then.
Oh, it was good to be back, buddy.
All right. Pleasure as always, and thank you everyone for listening in and or watching in.